All right, how'd you miss that? Under, right? So you've been under a lot, and since we're not doing front toss anymore because we're trying to get you ready for your end of year Little League tournaments, your all-star games, your travel ball starting up, you're going to start seeing much higher velocity. So what I want you to understand is when the speed of the ball goes up, your hands usually drop because you're trying to catch up to speed that you're not quite used to. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you some stuff. Here, walk out here real quick. I'll grab your bat. So one of the things I really think would really help you is a noodle, okay? I know we're not swimming, but what we're doing is we're swinging over top of this. So obviously, if your hands get too low, all right, you're gonna hit the noodle like this. So if you're in your stance and your hands stay above the noodle, your bat's gonna be more angled like this. So a lot of people are gonna say, well, that's gonna make you hit more pop-ups. But in reality, what's gonna happen is when the bat's like this, the ball's gonna go sideways when you miss hit it. When the bat's too flat, because your hands are low, that's when you're gonna get the pop-ups. So what we wanna do is keep our hands higher, and we can work more towards the center and top of the ball, drive up and out, and you're gonna have a lot more success keeping your hands up and thinking top of the ball against higher velocity pitchers, especially when you're under 12. Under again, right? Frustrated yet? Honestly, I'm a little frustrated too. Like a high school, college player like you've got to make these adjustments quickly. And that's what's going to make all the difference in the world between how much playing time you get and how much playing time you don't. Now, you've been under the last 3 or 4, so let's talk about that. Obviously, you know that high velocity guys and high spin rate guys, their ball's going to stay up a little bit. And we're preparing for a high velocity pitcher. So one of the best ways to prepare for that high velocity pitcher is to really work on keeping our hands up and thinking top of the ball, low line drives, instead of trying to elevate and celebrate all the time. Come on here and I'll show you a little drill that I really like to do. So with my younger guys, I like the smaller noodle where your hands go over the top of it. With my older guys, I tend to like the higher noodle where your barrel has to travel above it. So one of the things we want to try to avoid is this hand drop, pull across, flat swing, and that's where you're going to deflect a ton of balls. So obviously, I'm not even talking about cutting it like this, like a lot of people on TV show you should do. What I'm talking about is we want to avoid this hand drop, flat spin swing. We want to keep our hands up, attack forward, and then allow us to easily miss the noodle when we go through our finish. When we're facing high velocity, high spin rate guys, and I know the guy you're about to face trains at a facility in Rapsodo. These are the type of guys that you're going to face as you get older and better. We've got to make sure that we're preparing for that high spin. So when you see a high spin rate fastball, you're going to think the ball is here. What you actually need to try to do is swing over the top of it with high hands, and that's going to drive through the back of the baseball. And if you are slightly under, then you'll be able to elevate to the gaps instead of missing under really high and pop it up in the infield. So again, we want to avoid the swing where we stride, we go flat and across. We want to keep our hands higher, attack same height, finish, and really looking to the top of the ball, keeping our hands above it, looking to drive high velocity, high spin rate guys, low and hard. All right, guys, good practice. I know you had some questions about why your son was under the ball so much today, and you wanted to work on some stuff that you could do at home, okay? So there's 2 things I think you can really do. One, if you have like a 10-pound dumbbell, one of the things you can do is have them hold that in their top hand and just go through their swing move like this. So imagine this was a dumbbell, because the dumbbell is going to pull them down, right? So if they start to drop and open up this bicep, that's going to pull them down. So what they've got to do is they've got to support their barrel, or the dumbbell in this case, higher, and then turn their hand as they go forward with a higher hand position. We want the hand higher than the elbow with an upward angle in their forearm. That's exactly what we're looking for. Another thing you can do, and I know you have Rebels Rack and some bands at home, but you can use a Jaeger band or any kind of band, is you can put a band on their front foot and attach it to the top hand as well. So they can take full swings. If you're holding the band in your hand and it's attached to your front foot under your shoe, you can take full swings and you can practice keeping your hands up while you have some resistance pulling down. So we did the noodle drill at practice, and that's while they were actually hitting. They can also hit off a tee with this band drill, or if you go to the field, they can take batting practice with it too, as long as it's connected under the shoe and over the hand, like they can hold it like this and then against the bat. Those are the two things that I would really practice at home, just to make sure that your child is keeping their hands up and keeping their hands high throughout the swing. And I don't mean up in the stance, I mean up through the turn. That's what I'm trying to get them to learn.